Oh dear, I feel like I've just spent 10 years of my life replying to text messages, emails and correspondence. But we got our cartridges for Litap, and I bought some spares because, you know, I'd had that little thing yesterday, so now I'll probably never run into one again for the next 20 years. Now I've got 2 pairs of spare ones. Couldn't get any more of them, but I've got about 4, I hope. So now we've got another tap in the diary to look at. I'm hoping it's a tap change. That's what it said in the diary. Only a time and a place, no contact number, so I better get wiggle on. And then we're back over to the tenanted house and we're going to just sort that tap out, change the valves. He's there all day today and tomorrow, so we've got a bit of time to play with. Okay, 1/2-inch washer in there. I think we'll take a few with us, just in case. I'm fairly confident one or both of those will do the trick nicely. Okay, so here is the subject. Superior brass nut is reused. Okay, that one's done. That house was boiling. It was like 30 degrees in there, must have been. But those are swapped over. It was on those flexis where they got the valve and the flexis made into one, so it's like the absolute worst possible thing, because if the flexi ruptures, you've got no way of shutting the water off, because you know, the ISO valve's part of the flexi, but you know, they worked, so that's that. I did advise him that it was a twisted, gnarly mess, and the hot and cold were the wrong way around, and it was a bit sorry for itself, but it was one of these jobs where, like, you know, he needed it doing rather than wanted it doing, if you know what I mean. This is the tap that's dripping. If you watch that closely while I set up, you'll indeed see that it has a drip. Just getting some video. Right, that's just all bunged off. Get the boiler switched off and then on to the next one. I'm going to make the handles on these olive splitters a bit longer so I can actually grip it. Come on. Get some, you bastard. There we go, got you. Right, where's the valve gone? There it is. Oh. Bingo. Okay, time for the rubber to meet the road. Nice bit of air, that's what we like to hear. Oh. The ladder's a bit steep. Alright, there we go. Let's do this one first, especially if it's a speed fit cap. Once you let that bung out, there's a lot of suction on that. Oh, I guess we vent the radiators because it don't seem to be making up very well. Still, not going to complain. We didn't get a lot of water out. Okay, so she's good and on. I've had a little vent through, but I do anticipate a little bit of an airlock maybe, but that's worst case scenario. The AAV should do their job and neutralise most of it. It's only on 39, it's not climbing. So 38 now, so yeah, that's a stable temperature. When it rockets up like that, that's how you know you've got an airlock. Also the flow will be boiling hot and the return will be ice cold. Anyway, let's go and see if any of these can roll. That's the total amount of water out of the system, including 90 million gallons lost. So all in all, not too bad. Okay, so that's all done. Happy tenant, happy landlord, happy plumber. So this job needs a little bit of explaining because it's well, it's one of my jobs. So if we cast our minds back to the tropical paradise of 2 weeks ago, you might recall I was in a loft changing a 3-port valve. So this is the first patient this morning. We've got an AAV and a 3-port that need changing over. Apparently somebody else came out and said, oh yes, it's definitely the 3-port. Because when the hot water was on, the radiators were getting hot. As fault found by M&M's own plumber, and then I was dispatched to do it because the landlord had again a new 2-port valve, or 3-port valve I should say, every 18 months, which is a little bit, I said that doesn't sound right. So as far as I can figure out, and I'd have to dissect the house to prove it, but as far as I can figure out, the upstairs radiators are piped off of the primary flow and return that's going to the cylinder, because the 3-ports in the loft by the boiler, they've drilled 6 lots of pipe going through the walls, except 2 of those are 15mm feeds for the tower rail just straight off of the primaries before the valve. So you've got flow and return going through, and I personally feel that perhaps there was a little mix up somewhere, and the somehow as they came through to the landing with them, because I imagine they had to run across the landing in 22, spurred off for 15 for each of the radiators, and they just ran the wrong one basically into the cylinder, if that makes any sense. Even though if you took the floor up there should be 15mm spurs coming off of it going to the radiator, so you can see, oh, I don't want that one, I want the one without all of these other pipes cut into it. But whatever, that's my hypothesis. That's the only way it could be coming on, because again, we put the 3-port in, and yes, I did even try turning the 3-port around as if the old one had been put in incorrectly, and so thus again B was going to the radiators and A was going to the hot water and that, but that didn't really do a lot. So that's the only thing that's left. And again, you have to sort of, with this job, you have to get your Sherlock Holmes on and kind of just figure it out. Now the real solution to that is to take up the floor and repipe it correctly. However, the tenant doesn't want me in there for 2 or 3 days doing that. The landlord doesn't want to pay for all that. So the compromise we've reached is we've changed all those old Pegler TRVs up there for new ones, which will actually shut off. So when the hot water's on, you have the radiator turned right the way off, and then that's it. It doesn't get hot. The room's pleasant, and everyone's happy. And I was in and out of there quite quickly because I was able to vacuum the system. So I've saved the landlord a lot of money. And then I'll say to him, look, on the next vacancy, this is what needs doing. We need to take up the floor and do this and that to definitively get around this problem. I'll say to them, this is a long-term temporary fix, I think I'll call it. And that's that. But let's play devil's advocate here. If I was sent to that in the first place to do the fault finding, and I found that the hot water was coming on when the radiators were, it's conceivable I would have ended up making the same mistake and just changing the 3-port. But saying that, once I changed the 3-port, I'd have had the due diligence to test that it was functioning correctly, and then I'd have gone, oh shit, when the hot water's on, all these radiators are heating up. Maybe I've done something wrong, rather than just sending in my bill and, fucking off up the road. So, there's that to consider. But it's done now, so we don't have to worry about that. And now